Welcome back to another episode of 5 Days of Future. I'm your host, Gaming Jay, and if you're just joining me for this Let's Play series, this is a tribute to Back to the Future. And over the past couple days and over 2 more days, I've been playing my way through 5 Back to the Future games in honor of Back to the Future Day, which is the day in the movie that they go to in the year 2015, which is October 21st, 2015, which is right around the corner. I'm playing a not so classic, not so cherished game called Back to the Future Part 3, and my god is this game a train wreck. I am not the first to try this game and make this observation, but dear god, is this a piece of crap! Not worthy of the Back to the Future name. In fact, as you'll notice right now, I am actually playing the game, only I'm not playing the game. I recorded myself playing the game and decided to do voiceover for this. If you're familiar with my other videos, typically in my Let's Plays, I'll do my commentary while I'm playing a game. But this game was just so freaking hard. I loaded it up just to practice, to see how hard it would be, and my god, it's brutal. It's brutal, guys. So I really realized that there's no way that I could play and record my voice at the same time, so I decided to do this kind of voiceover. And so as you see here, I'm struggling through this game. I guess, so I'm Doc Brown, riding on a horse. I'm trying to save Clara, who's careening out of control towards a ravine, and literally everything in existence is against me. We have rocks flying at me. A box just appeared in front of me. I've flown from my horse. I get back on, only to shoot a mosquito. A log is in my way. A bird is diving at me. Sorry. I couldn't even speak for a second there. Clara flies off the edge, dies, yelling she wishes she was Mary Poppins. And Marty's like, look, Doc, forget it. I'll do it. And Doc's like, no, Marty, I'll try it again. But really, Doc should have given up at this point because he's just awful at this. And he being me is this game, this is the first level, guys. Keep this in mind, Insane. I mean, if you're watching this, and why did I die just there? I was totally shooting at that stupid cowboy. Non-stop bullets. How did he get up and poke me with one? I don't even see a bullet on the screen. I don't know why Doc fell off his horse with that stupid cowboy. But I just do not understand why they made a game like this. It is unfathomable. Unfathomable. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pull. What does that even mean? I don't know. It's a pretty dark game, though, that starts off on Clara dying. And Marty is just... Look, Marty's face right there, that wasn't shock of him seeing Clara careening towards a ravine. That's a shock of him seeing Doc fail over and over and over again. Just seeing how ridiculous this level is and how unfair it is. And anyway, I've ranted and raved about this game for a bit. The reason I decided to do this voiceover, as you can imagine, is there's no way I would be able to talk about anything sensical while I played this game. And, I'm going to spoil the end of this video right now. I never make it past this level. So if you're tuning in for the gameplay side of things, feel free to jump ahead or wait for tomorrow when my final video... Geronimo! My final video is coming out. But for now, my style of Let's Plays are, I talk about the game a bit as I play it, and I also kind of like to just talk about things that come to mind and just sort of random things, to kind of chat with you guys about whatever happens to be of interest to me. So I'm just going to talk about a few random Back to the Future things, and, if you want to stick around and watch me fail, go for it, but... I don't know what else there is to say about this game, so I'm just going to leave this on the background a bit while I talk. In the past couple days, I've talked a lot about things I've loved about Back to the Future, and especially Back to the Future Part 2, because that's the one that takes place in the year 2015, which is awesome. I was watching the movie a while back, and it's always funny to watch the rendition of 2015, where they thought of flying cars and auto-lacing shoes. The future's obviously not like that. But any movie you watch where they have to predict the future is interesting. Everyone predicted flying cars for a while, and that's like totally not coming to pass. Self-driving cars are, but flying cars, no. But something nobody ever saw when they were inventing the future for movies is nobody ever predicted the internet. And I would argue that's probably the most transformative technology to have come about, maybe since like the airplane. Or maybe even it's more transformative than that. I mean, think about how the internet changes your whole life. Your banking is different. You're watching YouTube right now. The media you consume is different. Talking to your friends is different. Facebook, right? I mean, like the internet really was a huge thing that nobody ever predicted. And so it's not, a fault of Back to the Future for also not predicting it, but it's just kind of funny how everyone thought the flying cars were going to be a thing. But nobody ever thought it would be, no one ever just dreamt of the internet. I think I'm doing pretty good in this run. Again, spoiler, I'm not going to save Clara. This poor girl, she just must die over and over again. I don't know, what is this, parallel universes? Because between every failure, Marty and Doc, they reference the fact that he's trying it again and again. I think one time between failures, Doc says, "There she goes again." So are they hopping back in time? Do they have a working DeLorean? I don't quite understand. And again, this is just horrible game design. Why would you make your first level such garbage? Buckboard's out of control. Yeah, I've seen that one. As you see the video go on, I get more and more frustrated with this game, and I stop looking at these stupid messages I've seen 1,000 times, and I'm just like, God damn it, I've just got to try this one more time. And the worst part about these types of games is you feel like you're getting better and better. I feel like I'm doing better and better each time I play, and I keep feeling like victory is just right out of grasp. I can almost get it, and that's why I played this for nearly 20 minutes. But again, as you can tell, I never actually saved this stupid woman. Nothing against women, but I'm just really frustrated with this game. I also don't understand who's throwing these boulders and stuff, and what are these power-ups? I'm picking up underwear and umbrellas and stuff. Is this giving me points, or is that buying me time? I never understood. There's a clock in the bottom right corner. This game is very confusing. This is from an era when there just really were far worse standards in terms of quality control of game design. So, it is what it is. Okay, what else is there to say about Back to the Future? One funny thing is that, Jennifer, they really cut her out of all the Back to the Future games and even really the movies. I mean, she was Marty's girlfriend in the first movie, and Marty wanted to get back to 1985. A main reason, besides being stuck in the past sucks, is he wanted to get back to his girlfriend because he was a teenager. And he, I'm sure, wanted to hug and kiss her and do all the things that teenagers do. I won't get any more graphic than that. But I guess the funny thing is, literally they had no purpose of putting her in the first game, or the second game, or even the movies. They kind of wrote her out. She was in it very peripherally, I've often wondered if they would ever reboot Back to the Future, and if they would, how the stories would change. Would a character like Jennifer have a bigger role? Would they dump the whole Libyan terrorist thing? I don't know if a Back to the Future reboot would work. I've always diehard Back to the Future fans are going to hate me, because it's kind of blasphemy to talk about rebooting Back to the Future, but I've always secretly kind of wanted to see it done. I think because I just need more Back to the Future in my life, but I always thought that Kramer from Seinfeld would have made an awesome Doc if they had done this back in the 90s or early 2000s. He's kind of old now, and his whole thing about his racist rants have kind of ruined his character, his integrity, and so, you probably couldn't use that guy these days. I'm sure someone like, I was going to say Jeff Goldblum, but not him. The guy who's in the newsroom and who's in Dumb and Dumber, Jeff, what's his face? It escapes me. I hate when there's a name on the tip of your tongue and you can't think of it. Anyway, he could probably pull off a great Doc Brown. But, I've heard that the filmmakers, Robert Zemeckis and so on, they're kind of blocking any attempts to make sequels, which, fair enough. Back to the Future, you dabbled with perfection. maybe you don't want a film studio ruining it. If they did a great job, it'd be amazing. If they ruined it, oh god, can you imagine? It would just ruin the Back to the Future legacy a bit. But one thing I am really enjoying these days is something called Rick and Morty. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it is a hilarious cartoon that's kind of a spoof of Back to the Future, although, I mean, it started as a real literal spoof of Back to the Future, but really these days it's evolved kind of more into its own thing. But the basic premise of the show is there's a grandpa named Rick, who's a crazy inventor scientist like Doc, and there's a grandson named Morty, who's a teenager like Marty, only he's far less secure and so on. And they just go on and have crazy adventures. It's by the creator of Community. It is hilarious. And I am so hoping that they do a Back to the Future tribute somehow when this anniversary actually arrives. I mean, Rick and Morty started as a Back to the Future parody, so if they could work in a tribute, oh, they have to. And I would be so on board with that. You know, it's funny that in Rick and Morty, they have like a parallel of Jennifer, it's Jessica. They have, a parallel of Doc and Marty. They don't have a parallel of Biff. So there's no analogous Biff character in Rick and Morty, and I always thought there should be. Now, it's not to say the show is weak for not having it. The show is amazing. But, you know, Biff was an essential antagonist to Back to the Future. And it would be really funny, I think, and a real awesome extra tribute if they could somehow work in kind of a bully character like that. Because they don't really have anything like it. And wasn't Biff Tannen just such a great character? Oh, man, I mean... Every time I make one of these videos, I just show how big of a Back to the Future fan I am, because all I do is gush over these movies. But let's talk about a few more hypothetical things. So, first of all, just in the genre of time travel and stuff, if you guys actually had a DeLorean, what time period would you actually want to go to? Like, say you had a time machine, you could pick any time that you could go to. Anytime that you want. What one would you go to? Would you go to the past? Would you go to the future? I think myself, I would gravitate towards the future, because the past has kind of been there, done that. So the future is probably what I would want to see. I'd want to go ahead like Doc did to see how far humanity goes, see what happens to my ancestors and people who I knew when they grow up, and get old and have kids of their own. I mean, all that stuff would be really neat to see. Kind of live past your time. I think that's exactly what Doc says when he goes to the future. So that's what I would want to do. But I've always been fascinated by the idea of if time travel existed and people did go back in time, evidence that there are time travelers in the past, relics or something. You can find photos on the internet of like the hipster in like the crowd of people in the 1940s or something, or the woman using a cell phone in the 1800s. There's these old photographs that people have found where they're kind of like, "Ooh, it's a time traveler," and it isn't. They're all they're not hoaxes, but they're misinterpretations, I guess, of things that weren't cell phones, and that's not a hipster or not modern fashion. But if time travelers really did exist in the past, oh man, it's just such a neat concept to think of like what relics they would have left, or like what relics they would have taken from the past as sort of souvenirs. One kind of thing I always thought would be awesome to have in an office or something like that, or like put in my office or something, would be to have a display case of fake artifacts from throughout time, as if I were a time traveler and I'd gone through time. So you could have like, I don't know, some bills and a pistol from the 1930s and say, oh, you went back and you were there during Prohibition time and those are artifacts you pulled back. You could have, I don't know, some gold or something from the 1800s from the Wild West, right? Just like Doc might have brought back. And then I thought it'd be cool to have some artifacts that showed you into the future. And those are much trickier, obviously. Now we're back to the problem of how do you predict something reasonable that's going to exist in the future? And one thing that I thought was a safe bet that I could put in is if I could get like a business card that was semi-transparent, but didn't say like business stuff on it. It was just sort of like a semi-transparent card. I could put it in there and I could tell people it's a cell phone from the future, right? Super thin, completely transparent. The whole thing is a quote-unquote screen. I could say it doesn't work because you can't charge it with today's technology or something, but basically just a sleeve of plastic, and you could make up stuff like, in the future, computers are so smart that they predict, not only like our shopping behavior, but maybe like things that we're going to discuss at a cocktail party or all sorts of things. Like if you have your cell phone in your pocket, it identifies everyone in the room and through a little earpiece to you and will like tell you their preferences of food and sort of be this augmented reality thing. I mean, cell phones already kind of do that. They give you GPS directions. They tell you, you can look up Wikipedia and stuff. But I guess a cell phone of the future would be far more smart on its own to give you information from the internet, from the future's internet, and all sorts of other stuff we never imagined could be predicted. And so you could have this sort of advanced thing like that. Spin an interesting story about, how it's from the future. I mean, or you could just have I could just print out a sports almanac, which would be awesome. You can find those floating around the internet. Or a hoverboard, which every kid in existence wanted when I was a kid. I had fantasies about owning a hoverboard. Although that wouldn't fit in a little case, you'd have to have a much bigger display case, but I mean, that would be an awesome thing to own too. So, okay, Doc's still failing here. My God, I mean, and just what a stupid game, honestly. So, the funny thing about this 5 Days of Future thing is I had this great idea. I'm going to play these Back to the Future games, these classic retro ones. And it kind of sucks that they all suck. I have one special game that I'm saving for tomorrow. Maybe you've deduced what it is, and if you have, kudos to you. But, these games, they just freaking suck. And so, as I said in one of my other Back to the Future videos, I don't spend a lot of time playing crappy games. So this is a new experience for me. And this is, again, the first video I've had to voice over because the game's just I could not play and make commentary at the same time. How are we supposed to get those power-ups floating above his head? It seemed impossible. And the fact that you can shoot power-ups and lose them, this game's just so freaking stupid. Oh, man. Well, I know the video's kind of slowly wrapping up here, so, there isn't too much else to say. What are your guys' experiences with Back to the Future? Are you looking forward to Back to the Future Day? Do you guys have fond memories of these games, maybe? Do you think I'm being unfair with these games? And this whole experience, with seeing these types of games, are these types of games you'd like to see more of? So in my normal series, Let's Play 1001 Games, I'm on a quest to basically play through 1001 games. A book called 1001 Games You Must Play Before You Die, right? In that book, it's all supposed to be good games. There aren't supposed to be too many crappy games. I, again, don't have a lot of experience playing crappy games. So what do you guys think of these games that have been played? I think this is the final screen here. I was just like, you know what, screw it, and I just gave up here, and I decided just to leave the screen. There's no way to quit this game or get to the main menu, so you're just stuck here when you're done. But anyway, you've watched me play some really bad Back to the Future games. What do you guys think? And what do you want to see more of, I guess, is the question. There's one more Back to the Future video coming out tomorrow. So if you have liked this video, please go ahead and give me a like, give me a subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow with the last of the 5 Days of Future Gaming J special. Alright guys, until then, peace.